Welcome back. In the midst of the protests taking place in Chicago this week, one American patriot stood tall against anti-American hate, waving the stars and stripes for all to see. Our next guest making a statement against anti-Israel protesters, including those who removed the flag outside Union Station in D.C. last month, and all those who burned the America's most sacred symbol there, as you can see right there in those images. Joining me now is the American patriot, Iowa resident Shawn Campbell. Great to have you on here, Wake Up America. Shawn, it takes a lot of bravery to do what you did. To decide to stand up to these protesters. Walk me through that. Why did you make that decision to do this?
So I made that video. There's been a lot of anti-American rhetoric that has been spewed in the last several months, and so the DNC, it's in Chicago, and at the University of Chicago, at the encampment, they had removed the American flag and replaced it with a foreign entity's flag, the Palestinian flag. And to me, that was deeply disheartening and disturbing to see done on American soil. And then I saw that amplified even more during Benjamin Netanyahu's speech to the joint session of Congress, where they removed 3 United States flags outside the U.S. Congress, replaced them with 3 Palestinian flags, and then proceeded to burn the American flags and chant "Death to America" on American soil.
So when you're out there in the middle of these protesters, how do they respond to you with your pro-American stance? What kind of things do they say to you, and how do you respond to that?
There was a lot of hatred, hostility, and anger towards me. I basically just stood strong, held my ground, and held the American flag up high. At the end of the day, no person is going to intimidate me, scare me, or prevent me from voicing my opinion. This is the United States of America, and we stand strong as patriots. We don't stand down, we hold our ground.
Are you ever concerned for your safety when you get into those types of situations where it could be very hostile?
You definitely have to be conscious of your surroundings, and you have to be aware of your surroundings. Like when you go to something like that, you know the risk that's there when you are with a bunch of hostility and a bunch of people who have a lot of anger towards you. So yes, I'm aware of my surroundings. But at the end of the day, like I said earlier, no person's going to prevent me from voicing my opinion and standing my ground. At the end of the day, that flag represents all Americans, and it represents the First Amendment. And the First Amendment is the freedom of speech. And regardless of what your opinion is or what your viewpoint is, every person, every American on this soil has the right to defend their freedom of speech. And if you went to that protest that they had yesterday, then that means you support the First Amendment, regardless of whether or not you agree with their viewpoint.
When you see these protesters burning that American flag, we've seen this happen countless times over the last few months. How does that make you feel when you see that as a proud American?
It's deeply disheartening. It's sad. I think it's absolutely disgusting and deplorable for something like that to even be a thought to happen on American soil. And to me, it's shameful. And I think we as Americans need to stand up and voice our patriotism and be outwardly patriotic and stand up and defend the American flag and defend this country against people who have hatred and anger towards this nation and towards that flag.
Yeah, and we're seeing this all play out again here at the DNC this week as the more anti-Israel protesters are there. We'll wait to see how the rest of the few days go here, the rest of this week. Shawn Campbell, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on there and defending that American flag.